Hello, welcome to Monday. This is Jennifer. It's 5 o'clock and it's time for some yoga. And what I wanted to just introduce with today is a little conversation about the winter the winter doldrums, I guess I want to call it. So I've been talking to lots and lots of people who are dealing with anxiety right now, dealing with uh, depression, and just really feeling like the winter is taking its toll. And I wanted to talk a little bit about working with, because you can't get, it's not something that we can like say, oh, we're fine, we're fine. We don't have to worry about this. You should be feeling good because everything in your life is great. Well, we see that on Facebook, right? We see that in social media where it looks like everybody else's lives except ours is fantastic. And that can really be challenging for us to deal with. So what we need to keep in mind is what people put out there sometimes isn't factual. And we don't want other people to be sad either, right? We don't want other people to be having a rough time, but it just makes it feel like you are the one that's just, everything is not going well. So what we want to talk about today as far as our practice is a being grateful and beginning to show gratitude for the things that we do have. And that maybe feel like it's easier said than done. It's like, oh, sure, I should be grateful for the fact that I have a house and for the fact that I have food on my table and for the fact that I have a nice partner or good kids or whatever it happens to be. So today, here I'm going to give you a little homework. Your homework is to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And those things can be anything. It can be like something really small, like I'm really thrilled that I have coffee creamer for my coffee in the morning, or my spouse stopped and got me a quart of ice cream, or whatever it happens to be. But find 3 things today that you can be grateful for and actually physically write them down. It's actually been shown that when you write it down, it is more meaningful and it's more helpful for you in your daily life. So write down 3 things you are grateful for today after we get done with yoga. You can think about them while you're practicing today. So kind of think about them. You could make that your intention today to find those 3 things that you are grateful for today. And so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with the first thing I'm grateful for today is this amazing weather that has let me run outside the last couple of days. Even though I only went a couple of miles each of them because I've been busy, at least I could get outside and run. So let's find a nice comfortable seat. Get my socks off so I can grip on my mat. So we're going to find a nice comfortable seat. I'm going to bring in my blocks today and my blanket. Get that out of the way. The kids were here yesterday, so things are in a little bit of disarray. But let's find that nice comfortable seat, sit up nice and tall. And let's just let those hands settle to our knees here for a moment. Find a nice tall spine. So if you've been hunched over a computer all day, I've been hunched over one much of the day. Find a nice comfortable seat and lift up through the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders back. Imagine that you're opening through your heart and just breathe. So let's take a little time here and just find our breath. So bring your awareness to your breath and then to that intention of finding those 3 things that you're grateful for today. I'm grateful for the ability to run outside in February. I'm grateful for the ability to run. And I'm also grateful for the fact that I have one really big project that's almost done. But also coordinating with that, I'm grateful for the fact that I have work to do that I enjoy. So let your eyes stay closed here for a moment. Let's lift those shoulders. Inhale, lift the shoulders and settle them back. Feel that nice release down your spine. Let's do that again. Let's inhale and lift and release. And one more time. Inhale, lift, and drop those shoulders back. Now let your nose fall forward. You've got your heart nice and open. Your shoulders are settled back. Let the nose fall forward. And then inhale, and let your right ear come up to your right shoulder. Let's exhale forward and inhale to the left. Now just take your own breath coming forward and up to each side. Remembering that whatever we do in yoga, it's your practice. If there's something that doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. You want to go deeper into something, feel free. Once more to each side. And then just settle that nose forward. Now let's inhale and send that gaze straight ahead. Let your left hand come down toward the mat. So I'm up on these blocks, so I've got a little bit more length to reach the fingers down to the ground. But I'm just going to tent those left fingers. So I'm going to tent the fingers, bring the thumb down, and then inhale my right arm up and release it over. Feel that nice length along your right side body. You can release over even further if that feels good. What you want to avoid is coming forward. We want to keep that arm up and back. Now let's lift those fingertips. Exhale, drop now the right fingers down to the ground. And then inhale the left arm to the sky. And float it over. Again, remember we want to keep that arm kind of floating back rather than falling forward because you'll allow more length along the side body. And breathe. Now this time we're going to inhale up, and I want you to bring both arms together. So as you inhale, lift up and intertwine your fingers. So like you're holding hands with yourself, and stretch those palms toward the sky. And breathe. Exhale, float those arms forward. Let the spine curve. So it's almost like you're trying to make a C with your spine, and let your head come forward. Then inhale, fingertips to the sky or fingers to the sky. And let's drop into a really gentle twist. I'm going to let my left hand fall to my right knee. And then walk that right hand behind. Let's inhale our fingertips back to the sky, and then drop that twist to the other side. Here comes Cecily. I thought she was in here. She's going to come and join us. And let's inhale back to the sky. Now we're going to bring our hands to our heart. I want you to stretch your legs out in front of you. So I'm going to come off of my blocks and my blanket now. Just press those, move those over. Imagine that you're pulling your toes towards you. So the back of your legs are just kind of settling down into the ground and you're pulling your toes towards you. And wiggle your toes. Maybe curl them and then flex them. And then move through your ankles. And bring your hands out in front of your arms. Stretch those arms out. And then bend the hands. Make some circles with the wrists. Make fists. Stretch the fingers out. And then let your fingers reach towards your toes. Now your hands might be up here on your thighs. They might be by your knees. They might be reaching your toes. Wherever they happen to land is absolutely fine. And on an inhale, come back through seated. And let's come around and find all fours. So as you come around to find all fours, if you need it, bring your blanket back in under your knees. And let your hands settle, pressing back down into the feet. So I'm pressing down to the tops of my feet are pressing on the mat, and that stretches out the front, my shins. So that stretches out my shins. Now on an exhale, let your spine rise and your head fall. And on an inhale, let your belly fall and your head rise. Let's just go with our breath. Close your eyes again. And just keep kind of floating through. Now turn your toes. Let's press up and find our first downward dog. Dropping back into the heels. Hi, Rebecca and Terry. So glad you're here. Soften your knees. Walk your feet forward. Exhale into a forward fold. Hi, Shar and Angela. Let's soften those knees and just bring a hand to each elbow. Allow your body to move from side to side. Now we're going to drop those fingertips to the ground, and on an inhale, reverse your swan dive. Let your arms rise. Settle back into a little back bend. And then inhale, reach those fingers to the sky. Drop them to your sides. Now reach the right foot forward and the left foot back. Inhale your left arm up to the sky and soften into your right forward knee. And breathe. Exhale the hand down, straighten that forward leg. We're going to float. Inhale, lift and bend. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift and bend. Exhale, release. See that one more time. Inhale, lift and bend. And hang out. And breathe. Now exhale that left hand down, straighten the right leg. Turn your toes forward and let's just flip that. So now the left leg is forward. We're going to inhale, bring the right arm to the sky, soften the left knee. Exhale, release down. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Couple more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, lift, and hang out. Exhale, release, straighten that leg. Turn your toes forward again. We're going to go back to the other side, but this time we're going to come and find warrior twos. So as we come and find the warrior twos, we start here with our toes forward, our feet a little wider than hips width. And then we're going to turn our right foot out. So we turn the right toes out so that they're toward the narrow end of the mat. And then soften into your right knee. So I'm going to widen out my stance a little bit. Soften into that right knee. Inhale the right arm up and the left arm up. Exhale, release the arms, straighten. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Let's hang out. I'm going to take a peek out over my right front hand. And then I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to drop my left hand back and bring my right hand toward the sky. That feels good. You're welcome to join me. So this left hand now that's kind of wandering down the left leg, you can wrap that around if it feels good. Let's inhale, come back through center. Drop those hands. Turn the right toes forward and the left toes out now. So we're just going to switch sides. Inhale, soften into the left knee, bring the arms up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Couple more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. This last time, we're going to inhale, hang out. And then exhale, I'm going to reverse again. Lifting now that left hand to the sky, right hand kind of floats down that right leg. And then that right arm can wrap around the back if that feels good. Let's inhale, come back through center. Now drop the hands. I want you to turn your toes all forward. I'm actually going to, almost like I'm pigeon toeing just a little bit. So I'm turning my toes in. I'm sending my heels out so that our hands come to our hips. So I want you to imagine that you're lifting up through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips. So we just hinge forward. You might have a chair out in front of you or a couple of blocks. I'm just going to reach for the ground. And breathe. Now, I've talked about this many times. If your hands don't reach the ground, no big deal. If you need a chair, if you need a couple of blocks, or whatever you need, bring it in. The goal is to feel a nice stretch through your hamstrings, and if you are feeling that stretch with your hands on a chair, that's exactly where you should be. So I'm going to let my hands wander over toward my right foot, and let my nose come toward my knee. Hi, Holly, Dina. Come back to center. Walk those hands over to the left. We're just really looking for a nice stretch today. Okay, let's come back to center. Now we're going to soften our knees. Turn your toes kind of out a bit. Come up so that the crown of your head is lifting. So this is actually called, what can be called a couple of things. It's either the sumo squat if you are lifting weights, or this can be called the goddess pose as well, which we're going to go with goddess pose today because I just feel like it sounds better, right? So I'm going to go with goddess pose. So let your hands come to your hips and allow your weight to just kind of move from side to side. You might want to come up and readjust because in my case, my left hip was a little crabby with me when I came down here. So my goal is to stretch out my hips. So just do a little adjusting until it feels right. And then inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Let's do that again. Let's just rise up. One more time. This time exhaling down, finding the lowest spot you can go. Feel those quads start to work. And then inhale, rise. Walk your feet together. So I'm going to turn to my side. We are going to do a little chair pose. We're going to do a chair pose, and then we're going to do one that I really like called the balancing chair pose, which is a hip opener. So we're going to start by just coming to the side here and letting our feet come butt hips width apart. And I want you to imagine like you're sitting back into an imaginary chair. So our hips kind of start to fall back. Your hands can be here. Your hands can be here. Or your hands can reach out in front of you, letting your gaze come forward. Breathe. Couple breaths. You could drop deeper. And then let's inhale and rise. So we are going to now take that one step further. We're going to come to a balancing chair. So I'm going to start by bringing my right foot across my left. So the right foot's going to come across my left and then start to rise. So it's almost like we're crossing our right ankle over our left knee and then drop back. Oh, Cecily is not helping this process. Reach forward. And now for a really deep hip stretch, bring those hands down toward the ground. Hi, Lisa. Nice hip stretch. Again, you can have a chair here. You can have blocks here. You can have whatever you need to help. And this one's weird because the more you bend your knee, the more you can feel this in your hip. So let's rise. Release. Let your weight shift from side to side. So what felt amazing on one side may not on the other. But let's take a gander at it. So we're going to take now our left foot across our right knee, or right ankle. Bring that left ankle up and start to settle back into your chair. Hands can reach forward again. Now, hands to heart. Release forward. Not quite as easy on this side, but a nice stretch for that hip. Breathe. And again, remember, the more you bend your knee, the more that will release that hip. And let's rise. And release. All right, let your weight shift from side to side a bit. Stand up nice and tall. Let's inhale those arms to the sky. Exhale, settle back. Inhale, tall. Swan dive forward. Soften your knees. Settle into that forward fold. Let's bring a hand at each elbow. I'm bringing my feet apart a little ways. And just kind of sway, almost like a dance, releasing from side to side. I'm going to end with one final little hip opener here, now that we're nice and warm. I'm nice and warm anyway. So that our fingertips come down to the mat. I'm going to widen out my feet and drop down into a little garland yoga squat. Your hands can come to your heart, the elbows can open the knees, you can let your weight shift from side to side. And breathe. Now let's exhale those fingertips. Inhale your buns to the sky. Let's just take one more nice forward fold before we come down to the ground. And remember, your forward fold might be up here. You might have a lot more bend to your knees. And let's come down to seated. So I'm just going to bring myself to seated tonight. And stretch my legs out in front of me. So Cecily has decided that she is the yoga cat tonight. So we're just going to work around her. So I'm going to let my legs come apart. We're going to do a straddle forward fold tonight. So this one can be, some people just like naturally like fall in to this straddle forward fold. Others are right here, and this is as far as they go. And the stretch, the inner thigh stretch is working wonderfully. Feeling nice lengthening on the hamstrings. If you are happy, what are you doing? You're staying right here. If you would like, you can reach for the toes. You can lift out through the crown of your head and start to release yourself forward. Hi, Cecily. You can lengthen again, release a little deeper. Do that a couple more times. Really get that nice release. And let's inhale, come back through seated. Let's bring our feet in. I'm going to find that same seated pose that I was in at the beginning, but now with no blocks and no blanket, and it feels really good. So cold bodies, when we're first starting, may not be so happy in these places. And if you can spend some time just kind of stretching and releasing and warming up your body in slow, gentle movements, all of a sudden some of these poses are a bit more comfortable. So let's end with a couple of minutes of seated Shavasana. Now, if you have the time, as always, you are welcome to hang out in your Shavasana. You're welcome to lay down. You're welcome to turn on some nice meditation music, or just hang out after this video ends and breathe. You need to get back to your day. Let's stay in this seat here for a moment. Let your eyes close. I'm going to add to my gratitude list now. I'm grateful for the opportunity to spend my Mondays every Monday at 5 o'clock with you guys. I'm grateful that my body continues to let me move in the ways that it does. And that I have the health to be able to continue to both practice yoga and to run. So reminding you to take an opportunity to write down 3 things that you have to be grateful for today. If you have the time, meditate on those things. Now, on our next inhale, let's let our eyes open. Take a nice big deep breath in. Let it go. Let's do that again. And let it go. And one more time. And let it go. Let those hands come to your heart. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for creating this space in your day. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live in peace. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Namaste. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Again, if you have the time, you can hang out in your Shavasana for a little while longer. If you need to get back to the day, feel free to get back to the day. If you'd like, you are welcome to, hi Denise, you are welcome to put a comment either underneath this video, or you can send me a private message if there's a certain kind of practice that you would prefer to see. Otherwise, remember in the video section, every single one of these videos is saved, so you're always welcome to go back through and do whatever practice you'd like. If you're so inclined, when you've done a practice, you can put some kind of a comment in there as to what kind of a practice it was, and that will help others when they come back through. I keep meaning to get them all kind of cataloged, and you know how that goes. No time. But anyway, have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you next week, if not before. Bye.